Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the wild story of a virus that most of us are carrying around right now, but very few of us actually understand. It's a real master of disguise, you see, causing two totally different illnesses, sometimes decades apart.
So let's start with this question because it gets right to the heart of it. For pretty much everyone who's had chickenpox, the virus never leaves. Nope, it doesn't get kicked out after that week of itchy spots. It just moves. It sets up a new home deep inside your nervous system and decides to stick around for the long haul.
And this is the story of that virus. Its name is Varicella Zoster, or VZV for short. And you can think of it like an actor staging a two-act play inside the human body. Act 1 is chickenpox. Act 2 is shingles. And the amazing part is, the whole script is written by our very own immune systems.
Okay, so this chart really lays out the two different faces of VZV. On one side, you've got Act 1, chickenpox. That's the first infection, usually when we're kids. It's that super contagious, all-over itchy rash. Then, maybe 50, 60 years later, Act 2 can kick off, shingles. And this isn't a new bug you've caught. It's the original virus waking up, causing a really painful rash, usually just on one side of your body. Same virus, two completely different shows.
All right, so let's dig into that first act, the invasion that we all know as chickenpox. Yeah, it's a classic childhood thing. But the way this virus actually gets a foothold in the body is, well, it's incredibly clever. And here's something that a lot of us get wrong. We tend to think of these things spreading from coughs and sneezes, right? But with chickenpox, the real source of contagion is the rash itself. The virus is packed into those little blisters, and when they shed particles, they can actually become airborne. That's what makes it spread like wildfire.
You know, the virus has this precise four-step invasion plan. First, it sets up a little base camp in your tonsils to multiply. Then, it does something really sneaky. It hijacks your own immune cells, your T cells, and uses them as a taxi service to travel through your bloodstream. These infected T cells then carry the virus to the skin, and boom, you've got the chickenpox rash. But here's the genius move. While your body is busy fighting the battle on the surface, the virus is already making its escape, retreating into your nerve bundles to go into hiding.
So after the rash is gone and you're feeling all better, you might think the fight is over. But it's not. The virus just shifts its whole strategy. It goes from open warfare to becoming a secret sleeper agent, hiding right inside of you.
That's right, it just pulls back, gets off the immune system's radar, and enters a dormant state we call latency. And it can stay like that for decades, a silent tenant living in your nervous system. So the key here is where it hides. It doesn't just hang out anywhere. It integrates itself right into our nerve cells. Specifically, it heads for the nerve bundles along our spine and skull, the dorsal root ganglia. You can think of these as the main information highways for your nervous system, and the virus just sits there, quietly, waiting. And during this whole dormant phase, it's basically in suspended animation. It's not making any new copies of itself. It's not hurting the nerve cells it's living in. Its genes are essentially switched off. I mean, it is the perfect hiding strategy.
Okay, so let's fast forward to Act 2. After years, sometimes decades of total silence, that sleeper agent gets a signal and it's time to wake up. This is where things can get really painful.
So why? Why does it suddenly pop back up after all that time? Well, the trigger isn't something that changes in the virus. The trigger is a change in us. It all comes down to our body's ability to keep it locked down.
Think of it like this. Your immune system, the same one that beat chickenpox all those years ago, has been standing guard this whole time, keeping the virus locked up. But as we get older, that guard gets, well, a little less vigilant. Its attention starts to wander. And that natural dip in our immune defenses is the exact window of opportunity the virus has been waiting for. It reactivates and travels right back down the same nerve it was hiding in, all the way to the skin.
And you can really see this in the numbers. The risk of getting shingles is literally 10 times higher for an adult over 60 than it is for a kid under 10. It's just a crystal clear picture of how our fading immunity lets this old enemy come roaring back.
Now let this number sink in for a second. Over half. That means if you had chickenpox as a kid, it is literally a coin flip whether you will get shingles if you live to be 85. This is not some rare disease. It's an incredibly common and often really rough part of getting older.
And you have to understand, shingles is so much more than just a bad rash. When this virus comes storming out of your nervous system, it can cause serious, sometimes permanent damage. We're talking about things like chronic, debilitating nerve pain, vision loss, and even an increased risk of stroke.
This right here, PHN, is the thing people fear the most, and for good reason. Imagine the shingles rash finally heals, but the pain doesn't stop. A burning, stabbing, excruciating pain that can go on for months or even years. That's postherpetic neuralgia. It's the direct result of the virus damaging the very nerves it was hiding in for all those years.
But thankfully, this story doesn't end with the virus getting the last laugh, because human ingenuity has fought back. We've developed some incredibly powerful tools to step in and stop both acts of this viral play.
And we do it with two completely different vaccines, each one designed for a specific job. First, you've got the chickenpox vaccine for kids. Its goal is to stop Act 1 before it ever begins. Then, you've got the shingles vaccine for older adults. Its job is to prevent Act 2 by basically waking up and retraining that aging security guard in your immune system.
And the results are pretty amazing. The first shingles vaccine cut the number of cases by more than half. But what's even more important is that it slashed the risk of getting that horrible chronic nerve pain, PHN, by 2/3. That is a huge deal.
And get this, the science just keeps getting better. There's a newer type of vaccine that shows an incredible 97% efficacy against shingles. And because it's not a live virus, it's safe for people with weakened immune systems, the very people who need that protection the most. So the big takeaway is this. Varicella zoster is a virus with a very long game. It hides out for decades, waiting for its chance to reappear. But by understanding its two-act story, the invasion and the reactivation, we can finally start to fight back on our own terms. It really makes you wonder, as our science gets better and better, are we getting close to the day we can finally evict this lifelong tenant for good?